Good afternoon and welcome everyone to the Asia Smart App Workshop on artificial intelligence cross design thinking. Before passing the stage to our speakers, I would like to express our appreciation to your support on behalf of WTIA, the organizer of Asia Smart App Award 2022 and 23. We are especially grateful for the ongoing support of Create Hong Kong on the project. Let me introduce our speakers today. We have Dr. Chung, Senior Vice President from HKT Limited and PCCW Group. Mr. Michael Ho, Founder and Digital Strategist from DxLab. And Dr. Heatherm Huang, the co-founder of MeasurableAi. And after all of the sharing, we will have a Q&A section for interacting with our speakers. Well, before we begin our workshop, I'd like to invite everyone, both online and in person, to participate in a poll. Well, if you are a designer, no offense, do you think AI will replace designer? You may scan the QR code on the slide and tell us your thoughts. All right. While you are sending us your answer, I would like to invite our guests to have a good photo section. Please, Dr. Chung and Marco and Dr. Heatherm. Please come on stage. From of the panel. Yeah. Okay, thank you. And Marco and Heatherm, please.
Yes.
And Chung. How about looking to the feedback from our participants? So what do you think? Do you think AI will replace the designer? Seems our audience don't think so.
I wrote as well and I wrote no. So I think it won't replace, but it will power up.
Power up, yeah. Because the AI seems can be our the tools to make better design. I think. Okay, let me pass the stage to our first speaker.
Sure.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, I think it's a quick assistant to designer or to everyone actually. Let's see what we get. So, okay, first of all, I would like to say, big thank you to WTIA for, inviting us to share this topic. I think it's a great topic, AI plus design thinking. If you really search online, YouTube, you don't find this, not much about this topic. It's pretty new. So I think, most of us has done some homework before coming here. So, yeah, hopefully you can get something in there. So I think this echo my words, power. So I try to talk a bit about design thinking with GPT-4 as well. Let's go next. The green one. Okay. So let's give a question to start with. Can machine think? This is the Alan Turing test. I think a lot of you watched this movie a few years ago, Imitation Game. So Alan Turing tried to use the machines to break the encryption during the Second World War. I think it was very fascinating. Obviously, AlphaGo, a few years ago, but I think we come back to this question, yes or no, later. Can machine think? But then jump back to the agenda. So I think we want to, look at that from the design thinking perspective, and also about, the generative AI. And then, maybe I give some 101 about that, and then I try to mix them together to use, ChatGPT along the journey of design thinking. And I think most of you know design thinking is not only about designer, but not only about UI UX, but then it's also about the process. Okay, I think there has been a big push by a lot of companies on design thinking. For example, even some consulting firm, BCG, McKinsey, they have been doing not only strategy, but they talk about digital transformation, which related to design thinking. And there are some UI expert. They're moving up the stack, talking about design thinking as well. To be more digital experience, that kind of things. And also there are some product, even in our telecom world, there are some innovator talking about to how a telecom company can accelerate the digital process to serve our customer. So everyone talk about design thinking. So I think it's a big push in the market. But then why it related to us? Because we are not only a telecom company, we have been doing digital services for a few years. So I think we are now more a technology company, which we have lots of digital services to the public. So just name a few: DxGo, Tap and Go, Cup Sim, Cup Shopping, View TV. You can do all the streaming as well and move music streaming. I'll come back to this later. I don't want to bore you too much here. But then I think this is the 101 of design thinking, which is the user or human-centric problem solving. Just as simple as that. And there are a few classic steps along the journey: emphasize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So we'll try to crack them one by one later. So when we launch these are the real pictures when we launched DxGo, the telemedicine services. So I enjoy it very much of brainstorming, workshop, putting people together. People vote and shout their ideas, and at the end you prioritize for what to do and how to go through the user journey and UI UX. I think you can't replace those. You can power them up or you accelerate them because there are a lot of pre-meeting preparation for each of the session or workshop. Then next topic, generative AI. So what I'm trying to do today will be more on GPT-4. So you can see the difference between 4 and 3.5. Reasoning and conciseness are much better with GPT-4. Obviously, speed is a bit slower, but then you can, as long as you can wait, it's okay. Just give it a bit time. But then when you try different versions, some of you, I mean, most of you have POE, or even if you have the official version, when you type the same question, they may give you a different answer from time to time. So I think that's not the best way to use GPT or generative AI, because you really need to verify those numbers. He is very confident to narrate the numbers, but every single time you ask the same question, he gives something different. So I think the best way is you have to verify that, or you can leverage it for some other more meaningful tasks to help. Okay, I think Bing GPT is pretty good because the previous version we talked about POE or even the GPT OpenAI things, they kind of the knowledge stopped at 2021 September. But Bing you can use, say, if you give the answer, I want to know the latest numbers of tourists in Hong Kong after the COVID in the last 3 months. He probably can find something for you and structure the answer. So then there are some parameters you can tune if you have a version that can do. For example, if you have the Azure OpenAI kind of like playground, you can tune some parameter, or even in Bing you can pick creative mode or a normal mode, that kind of things. I usually pick the creative mode because they actually give you a higher temperature or higher top P value. If you want to get a sense of it, basically mean if you get the number closer to 1, it means you give more creativity or randomness or originality to the model to give you some ideas. I like that one. But if you want less randomness, you set it to 0. You mainly tune just one parameter rather than 2. That's the recommendation by the office of guy. Okay. Okay, so I try to keep it short here. So at the very beginning, old days we use all the if then else in the history, and then we use supervised learning for the typical machine learning model, and then we have neural network, deep learning with many layers of neural networks, and then up to now we have large language model. But I think the key difference is transformer. Transformer, there was a paper published 5 years ago. It's not something very new. it's like 5 years ago, but like I think it's really draw the attention because it's make you know, a lot of people you know, have a very friendly or you know, very usable interface to do that work. So this paper attention is all you need. You can take a look. I think the key is talking about how you put the attention modules into the model. So it's actually better or have a long memory than the RNN model or even other CNN. So some people talk about you know whether this is supervised learning or unsupervised learning. It's actually a combination of both. It has trained it with supervised learning, and then it has the just like AlphaGo or riding a bicycle. If you fall, you get a penalty. If you can successfully go and step forward, you get some reward. That's it, unsupervised learning. But then a key features, I think by the OpenAI is the human feedback. So whether you rate that answer is good or bad, it's actually feedback to the system. Continue to train the system. So I think it's a mix of different things. Prompt engineering, obviously, lots of people talk about that. I think it's not rocket science, but just 2 tips here. One is if you can give it more information in your question, it can usually give you a better answer. And also, if you can keep asking follow-up questions or even train of thought, or what's your step, can we go through it, step by step, you usually get better answer from there. Okay, so let's mix 2 together. Let's go back, together, join them, with the design thinking as well as the generative AI. So I cut it into half, emphasize, define, and ideate, and then later for the rest. Okay, so the first one, if you really don't remember what is design thinking one day, you can just type what is design thinking, and can you suggest some points for me along the design thinking process, and they give you some very good example. Okay, and I try to use some of them, to go through the journey together. So I think one of the I'll write something on the right hand side corner because I have been watching quite a lot of YouTube from time to time, and there are a lot of suggestions on how you write a better prompt. I think one of the things is you ask them to generate a prompt for you. That's pretty cool. Right, and so everything starts from numbers or research, right? When you start a new project, as a designer or as a startup members, you always think about that. Even as a business manager in a corporate, you also think about that. Whether there's a good market, whether there's a customer demand, that kind of things. I mean, I would recommend using Bing, as I said before, because it can search the internet. Just like I give an example here. Along the journey, we are talking about, can we brainstorm some new features or a new app about connected cars for Hong Kong? Say, it can give you some analysis, whether there are different levels of connected cars and how big is the market sizing. Obviously, you have to worry it by yourself, but you get something very cool to start for analysis. Emphasize, a very typical process in design thinking, I think, is to get user interview or your potential segment interview. And you can ask them to generate a list of questions for you and group them by category and then output in something in a CSV format. And that saves you a lot of time. Actually, if you get a list, you go edit it yourself, and then you can, I did it in a few minutes, and then you generate the Excel or even in the Word format, and then boom, you got something to go, or at least give you the first draft to start with. I think it's pretty cool. And then, but once you get all the interviews, say you get 5 or 10, then you may want to summarize that. This is probably the best features of generative AI is to summarize, so everyone know about that. If you have lots of tags, interview, answers, then you can ask them to summarize in a few key bullet points. It's just over there, a few key bullet points of the the top customer lead in the market of connected cars. Okay. Once you got that, you can ask them based on according to the customer lead, can you generate some ideas for us? This is another cool feature of generative AI, of generating ideas for you to brainstorm. Some people even use it to try to make a pattern of the answer. I mean, that's pretty interesting. So, for example, they can give you some pretty cool answer. You need a adaptive AI. People lead the traffic or real-time traffic or navigation, the suggestion, remote assistant on car, that kind of example, right? Then going to the second part, I will speed up a little bit here. It's not only about that 5 step for design thinking. It's
Everything is done by ChatGPT. Then what we want to have.
well, that's the human is the second thought. You can start from, if you have no idea to start with, you can start from GPT and then you modify it by yourself. I think that's the second part.
So in your presentation, you can see the questions are asked by ChatGPT. The answers are given by ChatGPT. And you basically are doing
I try to demonstrate a way that 100% by GPT, but I think that's not the way to go forward. In my opinion, I think I have been using it for a few months. I usually get the first draft, but then I modify it for a few times, or even I ask him to modify it. So I think I got your point. My answer to the question at the very beginning is no. It can't replace human, but it's a great power up to human being. I hope I answered your question. Yeah. Yeah, but I try to put it to an extreme. You can do a lot of things with it. Okay, so but then you have to manage the process as well. Apart from just generating, you need to a lean startup approach, or you need the agile. So I won't bore you with all these terms, but then I think basically the core concept is iteration. So you move fast and iterate. Okay, and at the same time you have to validate the result with for example, the typical way is the paper prototyping. So we have some internal project that we typically use Figma to draft the UI UX, and then we share with a potential user and ask them to fill in some questions and get the feedback and do the things. But then I think one thing, even Figma itself, it kind of has generative AI plugin as well. You can speed it up. And obviously validation with different version and checking the result and then go back again. I don't cost too much here, but then say if you move on to the step of prototyping, you can ask him to write a script for you as well for a video. And then if you put the video in another app, something called ION, you can even create a video about connected cars. It's not very nice because I only did it in a few minutes, but then there are lots of things you can do. And also, you can use Midjourney, to give a prompt to generate some really nice graphic of the user interface. I'm not expert because I don't have a subscription account for Midjourney at this moment. So if someone have it, you can try. There are some links here down here. Some people talk about how to use Midjourney to generate very nice UI, professional. Figma we talk about, and this is kind of almost the last part of the 5-step is the test. And this is the Azure OpenAI interface. I asked him to create a form, a web form for me, and prepare a link on M365 form. And he actually came in and prepared it. I didn't expect that. I was expecting it generate the question, but I didn't expect it would generate the form as well. And then the form will once you got that, you can have a form, you can share it out. So pretty amazing. And obviously, when you get all the feedback, you can ask him to do all the summarize. And once you have the summarization, you can actually put it in another app called Gamma app, which can generate a PowerPoint as well. So again, I'll try to push it as far as possible, almost 100% done by generative AI. And pretty nice slide on the left-hand side, if you can see. So I think what's the time now? I think it's almost time. Okay. I think for us is we went through this journey of creating .go a few years ago. That took quite a lot of time in the process and preparation of workshop, all the things. If we have tools right now, I believe we can make it even faster. And I believe for the next generation, for tap and go mods or whatever, move and wheel apps, we are making new generation as well. I think we can leverage the tools a lot, on channel. So again, back to the first question: can machine think? Who do you think machine can think?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Anyone else? Anyone know? No. You think yes? Yes. I think the official answer is there was a model like Google passed the Alan Turing test last year. ChatGPT is the second one. So it's yes. Okay. It's the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Chung. So I think it's so inspiring because I think if machine can think, so what am I? Anyway, so next we will have Marco, and I pass the stage to you.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you.
Hello all. Welcome. And first of all, I would like to express my gratitude for WTIA for inviting me for this workshop today. And today my topic is going to be about how will artificial intelligence shape our future. This is going to be my topic. So a little bit of my background. So I'm the founder and digital strategist of DxLab. And I have an education background in design. And also I am a professional trainer and educator with more than 20 years of experience. So I teach and I'm also a tech user. So let's see what I think about the current trend in AI development. So let's start off with this photo here. Specifically on the left, you see that this is a horse carriage, okay, which was invented all the way back in the late 1800s, okay. So people used to, get their transportation needs, done by this. In the in comparison to the Stone Age, this would be really high tech. They have wheels, they have seats, probably suspensions, right? So, however, in this photo, who has gone obsolete, in today's point? Of course, obviously, the horse. The horse is out of job, and it's been replaced by automotives. But when we really think deeper, even the driver is getting eliminated now. Seriously, drivers are really in trouble at the moment. In the future, cars will be driverless. Which this is a bus that has been tested. It's being tested. It's being tested in the airport. I think last week. So. Well, very soon we'll be having bus, maybe perhaps public transportation that don't have any drivers. And I think in the States and other countries, it's already happening already. So it's no surprise. So here is a report done by Goldman Sachs in really recently that many jobs are on the line globally. We're talking about globally. 300 million full-time jobs, okay? That AI could lead to significant disruption, okay, in the labor market. So I do agree with that, because we're really sweating, ourselves that with all that AI technology happening. And here is a list of jobs that could be replaced by AI: tech jobs, media jobs, even legal industry. Market research, even teachers might be replaced. So financial jobs, graphic designers. Thanks for that question. We had that discussion with our, in internal groups with friends. Because I come from a design background, and are we going to be going out of jobs? Are designers going to be replaced? And I struggled quite a bit, while answering that question. And finally, I picked no, and I'll tell you why. Okay. So a lot of jobs are going to be replaced. And here we look at the capabilities of AI, and this is only a partial of it. I'm not even showing the whole picture. And then look at visually, AI can generate image, videos, and even designs. Okay, design meaning with a whole entire layout, a structural layout, not just an image itself. Now it can do audio, like text to voice, voice to text, audio to music. And it's crazy, it's mind blowing, right? So, and for textual context, They can do articles, they can write documents, they can even reply your email, very soon. And in the tech world, they can do software developments, gaming, and even code development. So this is just part of the image here, part of the picture. Because on the other side, AI is doing all the automation jobs for you. The things that are happening, without any of your instructions, of your commands. So it's really, mind blowing and scary at the same time. So take a look at some of the jobs that AI is replacing in the creative industry. They can do product design. All you need is a simple hand sketch, and you get the AI to generate the rendering for you. A long time ago, if you do a 3D model and you have the computer to generate it, it probably takes a few minutes. But now it only takes like 10 seconds to do the rendering. It's crazy. And in advertising, graphic design, in fashion design, architecture, packaging design, and even photography. I noticed that in certain e-commerce websites selling apparels, all the models, they look the same, but in different poses. And then I realized, the model are also going out of job because all the images are generated by AI. They don't even have to hire a model to do the pose. So it's really scary. Okay, so thanks for Dr. Jones' foundation in going through the design thinking. But here I'm just going to quickly go through the 5-stage. I said empathy, define, ideate, prototype, and test. So this is the classical design thinking process. And on the first portion of it, it's all about discovery. Discovery, finding out about what the issue, what the problem you're trying to solve. So that's the first part of it. And then once you just define what the problem is, you move on to thinking about what prototype, what ideas, how to solve that problem. So you start to generate different solutions to it, potential solutions to it. And then finally, you do the testing and to prove that your solution actually works. So this is the classical design thinking, where we try to use divergence thinking and convergence thinking. Reaching out, broadening our knowledge. That's the divergence thinking, and convergence thinking is trying to narrow down our options. Okay, so this is the way to help us, to come up with better solutions. And why is this so good? Okay, why is the design thinking framework so good? Okay, so I'm moving. It's stuck on this. Let me try again. There we go. Okay. So one, the design thinking is it's actually born from the University of Stanford, from the D School. So it's one of the departments from Stanford University, and it has been brought to light, to the general public by one of the consultants. It's really well known, worldwide consultant Ideal, which does many of the design consultancy works. And what's so beautiful about design thinking is that it empowers innovative ideas with employable outcomes. Okay, and the key point here is that it encourages interdisciplinary, divergence thinking, and also prototype driven to generate solutions to problems. So these are the good things about design thinking. And it also highly encourages the engagement of stakeholders. So you're trying to, broaden your knowledge, outside of yourself. So I always say that, as a human being, you are no way unable to think something out of your knowledge base, because you yourself, whatever you have seen, whatever you have learned, this is all you know. Okay. So in order to think something creative, you either collaborate with someone else. Okay, which is what I'm going to say in the next slide. So here, each of us as an individual, we have our knowledge domain. Whatever you did, you studied in your academic years, this is your domain. But in order to kind of think outside of the box, you either become what is known as the T-shaped people. So you learn something from other disciplines to broaden your knowledge base, or the quicker way is to invite some friends or form a team from different disciplines. So that in a team setting, as Dr. Chung said, in different workshops, you have different people in different stage, brainstorming and thinking of new ideas and solutions. So that's the quick way of forming a T-shaped team. But now you no longer need the team because all you need is my best pal here, the AI. Seriously, I tell my families, I have my new friends, best friend. I always talk to my best friend. He'll tell me anything. It's mind blowing. So now all you need is yourself and ChatGPT or whatever AI, knowledge base that you have. Whether it is artificial narrow intelligence or general intelligence. So one is trained to do specific tasks. One is a broader knowledge in a sense. So here, a vast amount of knowledge, and they can perform it instantly, so fast that it's unimaginable. Once I asked them a question, to plan me a workshop rundown. After like 10 seconds, they give me the AI give me the entire rundown. I can't even type as fast as AI. So what's the point of doing it myself anymore? It's scary, right? So they can do it fast. They have a broad knowledge. So here, another framework that I usually refer to, I often refer to, is the one that has been simplified into a 4-phase version, proposed by the British Design Council all the way back in 2005. So this is a more elegant solutions to the design thinking framework that I often use. So you see, it's called a double diamond, as suggested by the shape. So here they have kind of simplified into 4-stage, saying discovery, define, develop, and deliver. So they kind of merged the prototype with the testing at the end stage there. So now, with all the AI tools available, just AI has been around the corner for many years. Like 5 or 6 years ago, we used to talk about deep learning AI, but all of a sudden, last year in November, it came up, and then it was available to the general public, and everybody, or mind has been blown away by AI. So now everybody can have access to such a broad knowledge, such a powerful tool. And when you think about it, in every stage there are some AI tools that can perform that task. There's like over, I'm losing count, but there's like over 1,000 different platforms and AI tools available on the market. So I'm not going to go specifically on any one of the tools because it's evolving as we speak. But look at here, data aggregation, which our next speaker is going to share with us. They can do it better than us as human beings. Text to voice. If you do a user research, you don't even have to type what they're saying. All that you have to do is dump the video or the voice language onto the AI. They can transcribe that into text, and then they can put that into an AI model to analyze those answers. You don't even have to do it manually. So in the next phase to define, we have all the data analysis, data visualization, and making not the decisions, but highlighting all the insights. So you don't have to do it again, of course, manually. On the development phase, we have all the generative AI, text generator, image generator, even video generator. But very soon, I would believe that there will be even like 3D model generator coming up with AI. So when we're doing prototypes, all we have to do is insert the prompt, and then you have the first initial draft of the design, such as I showed in the product design, right? So at the end, for the testing and the prototype and testing, we can dump ask AI to make it a prototype, and then do different tests like A/B tests. You can even, if it's a coding project, you can have AI to do the code debugging. So, even design, UI layout, you can ask Midjourney to do it, which I tried, but the layout, I would say it sucks at the moment. Yeah, because they can do graphic design, but they don't know what humans are thinking. So in terms of the layout, the usability, and even if you look beyond that, it's not just a one-screen product. It's a multiple screen, and then the user has to take multiple steps. They don't know how to think in that way. So very lucky, we're still safe at the moment as designer, but maybe 2 years later, I wouldn't promise that. So a little bit of my own prediction for the future in the commercial world is that AI is a game changer for sure, but then it's going to impact big and small enterprise or companies. Large company is going to start downsizing, doing layoffs because some jobs are being replaced by AI. So what happened to the unemployed? They will start to accelerate this process, and then the unemployed will probably start to think about, let's start our own business because now I can use AI and then they can equal 10 employees, right? So why not just start my own company and start doing business. And what happened is that AI will have the capability, or the small companies will have the capability that were previously only available to large organizations because AI is so powerful. And then then the small companies can compete more effectively in an increasing complex and competitive business environment. So that's what's happening. All the automation, all the imagination, or not imagination, but all the AI stuff they can do. So not only am I worried, but also the Stanford University, they have established a division called AIR, which takes a look at investigate into what will happen in the education sector as well. Since I'm an educator, so no, I'm along the line. And so the vision of AIR is to dedicate to finding the best approaches to redesigning education system with expertise in design, robotics, AI, neurology, education. Okay, so they're really worried, with all the new advanced technology here, that what are the students going to learn? They don't have anything to learn from us anymore, right? So here, Dr. Li Jiang, he is the director of one of the programs in AIR, specializing in AI, robotics, and education. So what he said in one of his interviews is that AI is probably one of the most powerful tools that we have ever invented. I totally agree. It's like the invention of computer. It has replaced many jobs. So, however, if you don't use it, if you don't use AI, then you cannot really compete with the people that are using AI. So we cannot be left alone or left behind. Everybody's using it, and if you're not using it, then you're no longer competitive. But however, the human part is really the innovation part. That's what he sees. Because even though AI can do a lot of things, but in order to do the initiative, the imagination and the creativity, one has to initiate the step. So that's where all the creativity, the innovation comes from 0 to 1. And then AI or the computer can take the rest of the way. So that's where AI cannot do a good job at. And we need to focus on that. So the creativity part is what we need to focus on. And another professor, David Alter. Okay, he's the co-director and professor at MIT under economics. So in one of his TED Talks, he mentioned that AI has the ability to process and analyze vast amount of data much faster than human. Okay, but it still needs human to ask the right question. So meaning that even though AI can do a lot of things, you still have to type in the prompts. So in order for it to execute. So if AI can execute itself, we would be really scared. Terminator will be coming soon, right? So far we're still safe. So going back to the design thinking framework, so what we'll really have to ask, what questions we ask? So the question is no longer what or why, because what is about knowledge, right? Knowledge based. We don't need to teach knowledge to our next generation anymore because AI has all the knowledge you need. All you need to do is ask. You don't even need to go to the web browser now. The search engine. Go to AI. But and how? We don't need to know the how anymore because AI can do it. So doing the composition, the design, the digital illustration, all that you don't need to do. But what we need to really focus on is the who and why. And that's the essential of user experience design. So what is this? Is we first need to really think about who the users are, okay? The users, identify the users, and then think about why. And why is the part where you need to think about the user, their pain points, and their motivation, the scenarios, what kind of problems are they facing? Because after all, any problem is a human problem. And when design is actually a problem-solving methodology. So at the end, even though AI can do a lot of things, but in general, design is solving problems. And AI is still not there yet to execute all the different phases and to think about, they don't have empathy. I asked them this question, do you have empathy? Do you have feelings? And he said no. He or she, I don't know. So they don't have feelings, they don't have empathy. So as human beings, we are responsible for the human-to-human touch service or product design. And this is the important part. As human, we have the empathy and really understand what the real human needs are. And we should really focus on that. So coming to the end, there's going to be a paradigm shift. It's happening, everywhere, commercial world, and even in the education sector. So adoption of AI in education will raise important ethical and social questions. Obviously, what are they going to learn as the next generation? It's going to cause issues such as bias, privacy, and even equity. So AI should support the goal of education in promoting learning. Learning is an important part in education. But what should they learn? I think they should learn the design thinking, going back, thinking about it, because design thinking is about problem solving. And I guess AI is just like a wrench or a tool that people use. So, and the social also development is important in education. So it all comes down to the collaboration of educator, technology developers, and policymakers to come up with the best solutions to use AI. So lastly, I would like to close my sharing with an old quote. Imagination is more important than knowledge, as knowledge is limited, but imagination encircles the world. So you really have to teach people to imagine, to think of what is possible, and let the AI do the rest. Okay, thank you so much.
For your sharing that on the designer perspective, I think, and most likely with the designer won't be replaced at this stage, I think. Okay, let's welcome Peter for your sharing. Yeah.
Thank you. So good afternoon. My name is Heatherm Huang. I'm also a designer. So I was a designer. I haven't been hands-on design for years, but I also went to Purdue design school. So I am a designer tent, serial entrepreneur in technology. I was involved in 6 startups projects in the past 15 years. So I started my first startup even before I graduated from the college. Currently, I'm working on 2 products. One is called Mailtime and MeasurableAi. So it's MeasurableAi. I will tell you more. I also recently graduated from the Doctor of FinTech at Purdue. In the past 15 years, I have been working on a number of startup projects, anywhere from social networking, big data, cryptocurrency, and even videos. I started my first startup in Shanghai and then in Hong Kong. I also spent a couple of years in San Francisco, which is Silicon Valley, and now I'm back in Hong Kong. So a little bit background of what my current company do is that we offer an email app called Mailtime that makes emails as quick and easy as text messaging. So yeah, by using this app, user will get rewarded for contributing data. So we collect a lot of email receipt data. Yeah. For example, every time when you order food delivery or when you buy something from an e-commerce website, you get email receipt, right? So basically, we aggregate email receipts from like millions of users, and yeah, and yes, and MeasurableAi, we analyze and also come up with like actionable insights using the data we collect from the users. So today, my topic is visualizing the AI chatbots with alternative data. So today I'm not going to talk too much more about the design thinking because these two experts already share a lot more. And so today I'm going to show you some like market insights of how people use the chatbots, and also so what's the difference between like all the chatbots using alternative data. So yeah, so the first data set I use is actually our internal data set lab. So basically, yeah, I believe every one of you try ChatGPT or like Bing or POE, right? So if you sign up with this project, if you sign up with these chatbots, you will get an email receipt. Yeah, for example, if you sign up for the new Bing, so new Bing, after you pass the wait list, yes, Bing will send you an email from this email address like notifications at email3.bing.com with a subject called "You are in." Yes, welcome to the new Bing. So yeah, so basically, if you are a user of one of these chatbot apps, you should be familiar. You can check your inbox. You will find an email like this. And first of all, so when we aggregate those like emails received by the ChatGPT users, when you sign up for ChatGPT, there will be an email say like verify your email. And if I put those numbers together, so this is what we see. So ChatGPT launched on November 30, 2022, right? About like half a year ago. When it first launched, of course, there's a very quick hype, but followed by that is the holiday season. So everybody went on vacations and holidays. And quickly at about this point of time, end of January, they passed 100 million users. It's been so basically ChatGPT was the first ever internet product that passed 100 million users so quickly. And followed by that, and then everything was so crazy. Everybody was so hyped about the ChatGPT, the AI thing, and at about that time, they actually launched a paid subscription version called a ChatGPT Plus, and also Bing launched the new Bing at mid of February, but everything starts cool down and stabilize. And by the end of March, Google also launched the Google Bot chatbot. So, but still, that was like last week. So as of last week, ChatGPT are still very popular. Okay, so they are getting a lot more users than any other internet products, even as of today. A little bit more on the paid version, the ChatGPT Plus. Okay, so so I will actually show you some very interesting insights about that later too. But since they launched the ChatGPT Plus version on February 3rd, currently about 3.3% of ChatGPT users pay for the subscription version. And now, it's been quite a significant volume of users. And the ChatGPT is also a very engaging product. So once you start to use it, half of the chance you will keep using it for months, for years. And of course, after the first launch, the first couple of weeks were the Christmas, was the holiday season, so people are not really coming back. But we found it that when the user of ChatGPT joined for 4 months, no, for 4 weeks, their retention were stabilized. So about half of the ChatGPT users keep using it every week. So it's not some internet products you download and just forget about it. It's really a very engaging piece of tools. Okay, so I'm also want to talk about new Bean. So Bean, because yeah, you may know ChatGPT OpenAI actually was heavily invested by Microsoft. So Microsoft owns 49% of the OpenAI share. So pretty much OpenAI is a Microsoft company now. So Bing was the search engine of Microsoft, which was quite struggling over the past, like, I think 1 decade or so, competing with Google, right? Because so basically, Bing also launched a new version called the new Bing. It comes with a feature called Bing Chat, was powered by the ChatGPT API. And so they launched the new Bing about mid of February. And when they first launched, it didn't let people to use it directly. You will need to sign up for a waitlist. But of course, the waitlist was canceled after that. But when they opened for the waitlist, you see, compared to the new user volume of ChatGPT, new Bing was actually attracting a lot of attention from the market. And more surprisingly, after they ended the waitlist, when they start to let people in to use the new Bing, okay, so then you see the ChatGPT, yeah, compared to the previous slide, the ChatGPT everyday volume was like that. That's the daily new users of ChatGPT. But yeah, so new Bing are letting a lot of people in. New Bing was launched like halfway, yeah, so of the entire period of time, but they are already getting as many users as ChatGPT. So which is yeah, so yeah, for Microsoft it's a win-win. It's double win. So because OpenAI is also one of their initiative, also getting a lot of attention, but and also the new Bing is also one of the very successful launch using the putting this like generative AI feature. But does that really help Bing, the search engine, grow? Because yeah, right. So we also do add the web traffic data. So when ChatGPT launch, yeah, it goes through all the way up, right? Now I think it has about 300 million users as of today. But the web version of Bing search is not quite growing compared to, yeah, so percentage of compared to the portion of the Google search. So because, yeah, so basically about, let's say 3.5% of Google users also use Bing. It's not like growing a lot. But if we look at the app usage data, this is another story. So I also compare with the new Bing app. Also, they have another app, it's the Edge mobile app, which is Microsoft browser app. The browser app, because it didn't really integrate with the chat, with the ChatGPT, it's the same. But when they launch this new Bing app, because they have a feature that if you download the new Bing app, it will prioritize your like waitlist. You will get in faster. That's what they claim. So the usage of the new Bing app actually grew more than 100%. It's almost 200%. about 100-something% since they launch, which is very successful for the new Bing app since they integrate this like ChatGPT feature. And also after that, Google also launched Bard, which wasn't quite as successful as Microsoft, because first of all, Google was the very last player to launch the chatbot app. Everybody who was interested in try out these chatbot apps, they already use ChatGPT or Bing. Yes, people in Hong Kong, you may use POE because those apps are not available in Hong Kong. But so Google Bard launched the waitlist March 21st. But their waitlist is not really a waitlist because there wasn't really so many people were waiting. So they pretty much prove your waitlist within a same day. So if you sign up for the Google Bot for the waitlist, you get in the same day. So there wasn't too much wait for that. So as of today, yeah, and the other chart I want to compare. So basically, this is, I think, compare this chart will make more sense because we can, so yes, we assume Google Bot and ChatGPT launch the same day. Okay, so basically we just put everything, we put all the launch dates is reset to 0. So because in the beginning, in the first couple weeks, in the first couple of days, people don't really know about the ChatGPT. So it took a couple of days for ChatGPT to, for ChatGPT to turn off, right? But because when Google launched Bot, on the market, everybody already know about like all these things, right? So in the first couple of days, Google actually gained more users than ChatGPT compared to what at the time when ChatGPT was launched. But through the time, Bot's engagement has been like weak, and it's declined over time. And I also want to talk about this app, POE. POE is actually a very big thing in Hong Kong. So this is, so I actually took this screenshot today. So POE app was ranked #2 on the entire Hong Kong's top 3 apps on the App Store. And so everybody considers POE is a very, very popular chatbot app, right? But when you look closer, very interesting. Almost half of the POE users are from Hong Kong. So this app is pretty much only popular in Hong Kong. And it's followed by the US because there are a lot of users in the US, and followed by Saudi because Saudi is also one of the countries ChatGPT and Bard and New Bing is not available. So why this happened? So so it's because a very sad story because ChatGPT and Bard and Bing they are available in almost everywhere in the world. It's except a very small number of regions. Hong Kong was one of them. So if it is 5 years ago, 10 years ago, Hong Kong always be the first to launch something for the tech companies. But now everything is different now. So here I want to do a quick survey here. Okay, so I actually do the same survey on Twitter, and I get 169 response from Twitter users. But like can you guys guess? Among all the ChatGPT users, okay, so there are like 300 million users right now. But in our database, we capture about like 30,000 ChatGPT users. But like yeah, so I have 4 groups of users. It's engineers, coders, yeah, it's designers, it's writers, learners. Who do you think, like which group of users do you think use ChatGPT the most? Or maybe who try the ChatGPT the most? Can you? Learners. Okay. Writers. Okay.
Yeah, writers.
Writers. Okay. Coders. Okay. 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 So on the Twitter survey, no. Yeah. So this is the survey. It's not a real data. Okay. So about half of the users on my Twitter account consider coders are the group of users who would like to really try ChatGPT or to be part of this innovation, right? Designer was actually the least people choose. It's the same reaction here. Like nobody actually said like designer. Yeah. But however, it's at least from our own database, we found like almost 20% of ChatGPT users who are also Adobe users. When you are an Adobe user, means that you are a designer, right? But ChatGPT only have a 4% overlaps with people using GitHub, which, yeah, it's very strange, right? This is also what I think. But this is, yeah, because data tells the story. 19% Adobe and 9% Canva. So Canva is for those people who want to be a designer but not as sophisticated as using the Adobe stuff. But also want to show something also quite interesting. 36% of ChatGPT users who are crypto users. Okay, so yes, so basically, ChatGPT generative UI users has a huge overlaps with crypto users. So which, yeah, after you see this number, you may think this is pretty much true because, yeah, we may consider crypto users are more like, yeah, are more willing to try the new things and willing to take more risk, right? So yeah, so this demographic is aligned with ChatGPT users quite well. And only 6% on TikTok, but 33% on LinkedIn. Okay, so yeah, people consider TikTok for kids or maybe for the teenagers. And also, I also have another number which is too small. I didn't show, which is the ChatGPT overlap with Snapchat. Okay, so yeah, TikTok and Snapchat are considered to be they have majority of young group of user base. But so yeah, so in what other rankings or charts you ever see LinkedIn was among the one of the, it's actually the top one social networking site. So basically, yeah, a lot of ChatGPT users are professional users. But yeah, of course, that number was a bit old. So today I have an update. I have an updated number here. So this, I don't think this number. Yeah, I don't think anyone else in the world have this number available. Okay, so you. Yes, you guys are the very first to know some very interesting insights about the chatbot users. So if you're looking at the ChatGPT Plus users, okay, the ChatGPT Plus users. So sure, we have more overlaps with engineers. About 25% of ChatGPT Plus users who are coders, but we have a larger number in designers, about 41%. Okay, 42%. 42% of entire ChatGPT paid subscribers are designers. So designers are so I don't know, so worried about that or so so try want to be try this out, but 42% of ChatGPT pay users, the ChatGPT Plus users, they even pay for ChatGPT. 42% are designers, and almost 51% overlap with crypto users. So this was very crazy. So consider, so 2 in 1 ChatGPT Plus users subscribe, are crypto users. So basically, these two groups of users are around each other very much. But when you look at POE and New Bing, so these two are seems like a little bit more less sophisticated. So you see more general public users here, POE and Bing. So POE is the only one I couldn't get a ranking for the TikTok because, yeah, it's only popular in Hong Kong, so TikTok is not available in Hong Kong. But the other thing I also want to show you is this one, Google Bot. When you look at Google Bot and ChatGPT Plus users, you see these two, the demographic are pretty close. Okay, so which means that the ChatGPT users who are not really paying for ChatGPT, ChatGPT is already very good for them. But yeah, and so basically these ChatGPT Plus and Bot users, they are, yeah, when you're looking at the numbers, they are very close. They are pretty similar type of audience, ChatGPT Plus and Bot. So yeah, so I also want to introduce a new project. So I shared in the beginning, we have an app called MailTime that makes your emails as quick and easy as text messaging. So it's like WhatsApp for email. So it's a chat app, right? So why we don't integrate it with the generative AI? So we announced the MailTime AI, which is an integration of MailTime app. So basically, this is the interface of MailTime app. We make emails as quick and easy as text messaging. So basically, whatever you reply and read here are emails, not just chatbots. It's not just chatbots; those are the emails. But so we integrate. We integrate the generative AI API, which includes the ChatGPT API and also the Bots API. So we introduce a new function. It's called MailTime AI here. So when user use this MailTime AI function, we will ask you. So basically, we will send the context of this email thread to ChatGPT or like Bot API, and we will let ChatGPT or Bot to automatically draft email replies automatically within the app. So basically, yeah. So as Marco also talk about, yeah. So like email, generative AI for email is coming soon. And yeah, it's here. Okay. Yeah, and then once you already draft the email, you can use the feature. You can use generative AI to proofread the email, and even you can do like shorten the email, or maybe to let the generative AI to write it longer. So these two are very simple feature in using the ChatGPT API to integrate with our consumer app. But this is a very interesting feature. So this is also something I want to share, is because integrating. So basically, people think generative AI will replace jobs, right? So a lot of apps are also like going nowhere, because a lot of apps are also going to replace by the generative AI, right? So basically now there were actually a number of listed companies they in their financial report, they said their business was hit significantly by ChatGPT, and then their stock price went down a lot because of the ChatGPT's launch. Because what their company can offer can pretty much like replaced by ChatGPT and also for free. So but if you are an app developer, if you are a designer working on a new consumer app, so yeah, so basically because the ChatGPT API are so easy to use, you can quickly integrate and introduce a generative AI feature in your app within days. So yeah, so basically, yeah, like think about it, because this so because of this, we actually just start the wait list over the weekend for this mealtime AI feature. We launch a quick so we launched a startup like website called like mealtime.ai. And over the weekend, so basically, yeah, we already get like 20,000 people who stand up want to try this out. Because this is a very, very simple integration. It only takes your engineers maybe a couple of days of time, and the designers, it was only a couple very simple like user interfaces. But you can already introduce this very advanced like generative AI feature in your own app. So this is very fascinating. But yeah, and yeah, a little bit back to what we do. So basically, we collect users like transactional behavior data from the Mealtime app. We also have another app called RewardMe. So when users join our ecosystem, so basically they will start to contribute their transactional data, and they will also get paid for sharing the data. So people are today and in all other sessions about the generative AI, people all worry about where AI take my job, right? So where AI replace like designers, writers, like journalists or anything, accountants, lawyers. But I think the answer is that yes, it will definitely replace, including the designers, including all other jobs. A lot of the jobs will be replaced, even the engineers. So basically, people may think the software engineer was the last one to be replaced, but it will definitely be replaced. But so founder of OpenAI is Sam Altman, right? So Sam Altman also launched, besides OpenAI, he also launched another initiative, which is called a WorldCoin. Okay, it's a cryptocurrency, but it's for universal basic income. So basically, universal basic income is a very interesting topic that in a couple years of time, right? So a lot of jobs, maybe we are talking about like 40%, 60% of jobs will be replaced by AI, right? So, but a lot of companies are making money through AI, right? So basically, universal basic income is that, in a couple years of time, most people's job will be replaced by AI. But so we will need to have another way of economic to empower people, right? So people can survive without a job. So universal basic income. So basically, if you follow the previous presidential election of US, there was one candidate, which was a Chinese candidate who was running for the US president. His name is like Andrew Yang. So basically, he also proposed this like a universal basic income to be one of his like election topics. So platform, and then so basically his proposal was to introduce a new tax. It's the AI tax. So yeah, so for the company who are benefits from AI technology, they are going to introduce a new tax to tax those companies, and then to distribute the tax to the people who lost job because of AI. But of course, that doesn't work because you will piss off every tech company, right, in the world. But Sam Altman come out with another solution, which is WorldCoin. Yeah, so the WorldCoin was also a very interesting topic. So basically, so like Sam Altman actually proposed the WorldCoin before he even started the OpenAI. So the WorldCoin, it's because so basically it is non-stoppable that AI will replace a lot of jobs, right? And in the future, you cannot differentiate this job is done by an AI or a person, right? So when you are reading an article, so when you are reading an article, when you are looking at a design file, you couldn't tell this was done by a bot or done by a human being. Is later. So so what like Sam Altman proposed in the WorldCoin is something called a proof of human being. So basically, you will need to prove. So you will first need to prove you are a human being, okay, to be part of this like WorldCoin thing. And then because AI are because in the future AIs are capable to have to complete. AIs are incapable to complete with a lot of jobs, right? A lot of tasks and jobs, but AI doesn't need to get paid, right? So basically, if you are human, you write a news article for a newspaper, you may want to get some like salary or like compensation for writing this piece of article, right? But if this job in the future is done by AI, it's also generating by, right? Because that news article is also, so basically, for that newspaper company, they used to, so they need to, in the past, they need to pay maybe like $500 for this article. But if this article done by AI, it doesn't need to pay anything, right? But this article is actually generating the same value of the previous one that they need to pay like $500 for, right? So basically, in the future, there will be a lot of tasks to be replaced by AI, right? So basically, AI will do this, do that, and then so you will write article, you will write songs, you will do design, you will write code. So those jobs are generating value, but AI, the boss, doesn't need to get paid. So basically, so the concept of WorldCoin is to capture the value generated by those tasks done by AI and distribute those value to the people who are who are proof they are a human being. Okay, so basically every one of you don't need to so worry about you will be like jobless or your job will be replaced by AI sometime. When this really happen, I believe the universal basic income is already a universal thing in the world. And this is something I want to share today. Thank you.
On stage, and we will enter to our next section, the Q&A section. And now taking your seat. Thank you. Thank you very much. everyone, if you have any question, you may feel free to raise your hands and ask our speakers. And if you are online, you may scan the QR code and text us, send us your questions, and we'll real time look into your questions. So, because we only have 2 mics, and I will pass this mic to our Marco.
All right, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. If you have any
So
questions.
for any one of you, do you have any thoughts or question for us? We will be very glad to answer. Oh, okay. Okay, let's start off. Let's start off eternally.
Oh, okay. Yes, please. You go first, please. Okay.
It's okay.
It's okay?
It's okay.
It's okay. First of all, my question is for Mr. Huang. Thank you very much for your sharing. I think your ideas about the email things is very innovative about your ideas. But I have one question about the privacy issue. If I use your product, is my privacy being guaranteed? Because you are talking about taking in my email account to, get some data. I know that I get paid, but I use my email account to receive a bank statement or yes, that's privacy.
Yeah, sure. So first of all, of course, this is a very good question, and of course the user's privacy are very well protected. One is because basically, so first of all, the data sharing is optional. So when users download our apps, so we give user an option to choose whether do you want to share the transactional data with us. If the user chooses yes, then we will start to collect the data and the user will get paid for it. But if user choose no, they can still keep using exactly the same function of the app. It's the offers. The only difference is that they cannot receive the rewards. Okay. And two, so basically the data we collect are the data which are like de-identified and anonymized data. So we only collect email receipt data, which means that like when you order Foodpanda or when you order HKTV Mall, buy something, there will be a very specific filter that this email is sent by this address and with what kind of email template format. So we are only allowed to process the data coming from those like templates. At the same time, we also open source how we collect and process the data for people to audit. And of course, we also send our source code to audit every year. One is because our clients who subscribe to our data, first of all, we never sell any personal data. It's all aggregated trends. It's market insights. So, but still, because those is our clients, they are hedge funds, investment banks. Those companies are very sophisticated about about compliance of data. Right? So basically, we will need to be. So basically, when we are talking about data, there are two things. One is privacy, and the other one is security. So so when we are talking about privacy, it's most likely a legal thing. It's a compliance thing. And when we are talking about security, it's more a technical issue. Right? So you need to make sure your infrastructure is safe. It's not breakable. It's unbreakable. Right? So basically, of course, when we launch our product in any countries, we need to go through the local compliance efforts, and also like to be like localized, to make sure our product is legal and compliant in every jurisdiction as we launch the app. On the other hand, we hire like independent security auditors every year. We have to pass the security audits every year to make sure everything is safe.
Another question.
Please.
Is the product, the email product, is it free to use? Okay, so when,
And user can make money too.
yes, okay. So you know the saying goes, right? When a product is free, you are the product, right? So no, I think I would like to add on to it is that, yes, we should be concerned about privacy and all the data protection because digital products and digital platforms are everywhere. They surround us daily. Whether it is work or life or fun, right? So it's not a company that's selling your data, and then it's going to be B company that's going to be selling your data. Like all those social media platforms, that all they do is they collect your data and then they sell it. They make money off those data, right? So yes, as a user, I guess we should have a choice of whether or not we should disclose your data. And at the same time, I think we should be really much more aware of the sort of data that companies are collecting. Say, for example, some of the AI tools that are free to play with. They capture your face and then they can make your face like 3D and movable. But if you think, again, they're capturing all your biosecurity data, right? Your facial expression, your entire face, right? And some platform, they collect your voice and then they train the computer, they train the AI, and then they can speak in your voice. So when you really think about it, should you be doing this kind of activity? That's where I would like to draw the line.
I want to supplement that actually brings to the point of using all this generative AI tools, free version for corporate work. So I think some companies start having some guidelines or engagement on what the employees should do with all these tools, because some of the data will be leaked or will be used to train. I think for us, we have an in-house version. So we use the Azure OpenAI, make an in-house version for our colleagues use to safeguard that.
I also want to add something because you made a statement, which is not a statement, it's an internet saying. People said this 10 years ago. If you are not paying for a product, you are not the user, you are the product being sold, right? So basically this was true in the past 10, 20 years. Every internet companies are doing that. But what we are doing right now is essentially to try to change that. So basically we try to convince people that your data has a value, right? So basically your data is generating a lot of value. So basically, so you see my company name is called MeasurableAi. We also have a cryptocurrency called Measurable Data Token. So so Measurable Data Token. So our idea was to measure the value of data, right? So basically we try to evaluate how much value can your data be created, right? So in the future, so basically, so I talked about the universal basic income. So I really believe in the future, many people will be like jobless, but you will be keep receiving enough money to survive. By the value created by AI and also share your data. So as of today, if you ask like ChatGPT, if you ask Bing, if you ask Bart, so if you ask the chatbot, said, yes, what kind of data you use to train is your model. So so ChatGPT will tell you that they, as of today, they are already very smart, but they are only being trained using public data as of today. Yes, they haven't even started to use private data to train their model, but they are already very smart, right? But yes, what will be the difference is that if the ChatGPT and all these like AI start to use private data to train, so it will give you like different answers, right? Yeah, so now, yeah, so I believe John mentioned that if you ask ChatGPT the same question, yeah, like different times, they will give you like different answers, right? But yes, but those answers they may face it is in different way. They may call some more data, but they are still pretty much the same answer. But when ChatGPT can start to train using private data, it's people's everyday data and the company's data, then ChatGPT can really give like different answers to different questions to different people with different contexts, right? So that's very important, and this is definitely something all the AI model will do in the very near future. So, but when you are talking about your private data, so can people get paid for sharing the data? How to value the data you contribute to the AI models, right? So how, so basically that's very important. So maybe in the future you are survive. So basically people can survive in this world by keep contributing data to AI and make money. So yeah, so that might be the job.
There's some question up there.
Yes.
You want to take the first one?
No, actually, I like to go.
No, I think it's more about the side. because
Okay.
you guys are more expert.
Nice, okay.
All right, so we have two questions from online audience. So one is how to make better prompting if I want to make good use of AI. The power up, okay, power up my design. All right, so of course, practice makes perfect, but also there are multiple platforms on the internet that are specifically targeted towards prompt generation. So if you are interested in that, you can do a quick search on the internet and find those platforms that assist users to generate better prompts. And also another, of course, is to use those ChatGPT platforms to ask them to generate those prompts for you. That's another, yeah.
That's probably quite hard for mid-January. Any tips on that?
Well, I'm not an active user on Midjourney. I use another platform called Stable Diffusion. But I think it's more smarter in a way that Midjourney can handle a more general prompt to generate a not too bad image. But for other platforms, you have to be really specific, and they have to have their own kind of syntax, like using brackets, having certain numbers to control the factors of those keywords. So it can get quite complex. But another good tips would be to use negative prompts, because many times people focus on just the prompt. But if the platform allows users to put negative prompts, that is another good way to kind of filter out the things that you don't want to show on the image. So remember to use the negative prompts. And also the modeling also affects quite a lot, the model that you choose to use. All right, so for the second question, can you share a funny example of using AI? You have any funny scenarios or situation? Well, I would say, I think a few days ago, I think I have an encounter with a spiritual being. So as we say, like a ghost or something. So, and then I asked ChatGPT, what did I see? So, and then it came back that it says that it's likely that it's not what I think it is. And that is just a kind of a trick of light. So I find it that, so I guess they don't believe in this kind of thing, which I find funny.
Is it religious? Is ChatGPT religious?
No, they're not. Totally not. Unless you train them to be.
Yeah, I want to share about an experience. It's not directly using AI, but it's related to AI because in the past couple of weeks we were interviewing a number of designers. And so we are going to hire a new designer in the team. So we were interviewing a number of designers, and so so basically so a lot of backgrounds are similar, and a lot of so basically they are all performing quite well in the interview. But so how do we eventually choose who to hire? Is that so basically, yeah, so everybody knows like ChatGPT is not available in Hong Kong, right? So it's so but still a lot of people in Hong Kong, yeah, so try to find a way to eventually use ChatGPT, right? And so basically, I eventually use this. So yeah, it's because in Hong Kong, if you are physically in Hong Kong, you want to use ChatGPT, there is kind of a barrier. So you need a VPN, you need a phone number, which is not a Hong Kong phone number, and it's not a virtual number, and you need a number of steps that you can eventually to use ChatGPT, which was restricted in Hong Kong. So basically, eventually so our ultimate selection was that if this designer couldn't even find a way, so if this designer never actually tried to use ChatGPT before, they may heard about ChatGPT, but they never even tried to use it before. Okay, so they wouldn't want to spend some more time to do some research and also, so I thought designers should be, so as you see the numbers, the designers are biggest group of ChatGPT users, but if you are a designer, you don't even care about trying ChatGPT in Hong Kong, you are not a good designer, right? So, but still, so basically, if you are a designer in Hong Kong, if you still couldn't find a way to try ChatGPT, I couldn't say you are a good designer.
I echo your point. I think everyone should spend some time every day to play around. I don't know my example is funny or not, but I received some document and then I added on Word my comments, or I should say cost, fill something here. And then I tried it before I send it back to my colleagues. I copy it in our internal version and it filled everything for me. So it basically done the job. So I don't know if it's funny or not, but I think that echoed the point of, I think humans need to think about what they should do. It may be more the human and human or the innovation part that we have to pay for.
Yes.
Okay, let's go. Let's move on. Next one I can't answer is about design. Can you guys help? What is the biggest difference of the design between human designer and generative AI, say UI UX design?
All right. Okay. I would say, in my sharing that I mentioned, so currently, I think the type of AI that I have personally encountered, they're only focused on a specific task or a narrow task, say like generating images, photos, or text, and so forth. But if you look at UX and UI as an entire discipline, it requires multiple thoughtful steps and also different skills and tasks to perform in order to come up with a good digital product. So there's no one good solution at the moment that can do, as we think, a good UX and UI design. There's no such thing as of yet. But 2 years down the line, I'm not sure. But currently, AI can only generate certain layouts, or there's also some web generation platform available that can generate an entire website for you by your prompts, by entering your prompts. Say if you want to open a toy shop, and then it'll generate the entire site for you. But whether that is good or not, it really depends on how you look at it. It might be only a really simple website. So I would say no, it won't replace UX and UI designer right now, even though if they have tried using ChatGPT. Right now, yes, right now. But it's happening so fast that we can't even catch up. So I don't know what's going to happen 2 years from now.
It's maybe 2 months now, not 2 years.
That's right, 2 months.
Right. Shall we move on to another question? Let's say how AI is changing the business ecosystem. I think we should leave that to Dr. Chung.
Wow. that's very challenging. I think that's very broad topic, changing the business ecosystem. I think if you talk about works or if you talk about people relationship, I think there's some classic example of even sales team can be replaced by fully robots. It's like generative AI plus some text to speech and even some I think in English it's easier to say Google wavelet. You can't really differentiate it's human or not human. Then one day people serving you customer service or sales team calling you, it may not be human being. But I think Cantonese is quite easy to identify right now. It's still sound a bit funny. So I think that leave a lot of imagination. It's not only external serving customer, but internal operation also changing a lot. I think it's not talking about roles, but it's talking about if you have say a software developer, if he can do 1.5 or 2-person job like nowadays, I think that's will be amazing.
I actually want to add one more thing to the previous question. It's the funny AI experience. I actually come up one, which is quite fascinating. So basically, do you remember when ChatGPT launched a feature called ChatGPT plugin, right? So the ChatGPT plugin, so basically, which means that you can use ChatGPT to connect with some third-party apps to get data and get interaction with that. So I was first try out the ChatGPT plugin, and I tried to use ChatGPT to connect one of the SaaS app called it's called GPR. Yeah, yes, GPR.
Lucky you have access to that.
Yes, exactly.
You're top in the waiting list.
And so when I start to use like integration with Zapier, and then the ChatGPT said, sorry, I found a bug. So basically the ChatGPT tells me that so basically I was trying to connect with Zapier, but however I found a bug in this Zapier. And then let me write a program to fix this bug. And then ChatGPT automatically to write a program to fix this bug. And then eventually this plugin, it works. This was amazing. It was like, so is it the first time ever you see any AI automatically identify his bug and fix it, and also to make it work? If it is a human, it will take maybe days to identify this thing. And so that was an interesting experience.
So shall we move on to another question, or let's have more interaction with the audience? Yeah, I think yes.
I guess you guys mentioned AI. How do we know research or ChatGPT? How do we know? I guess the second question too. What are some of the impacts of data that
I can try to answer the first one. You guys think about the second. Yeah, I have to do quite some market sizing, daily job. So I try to ask GPT, the OpenAI one. I find that I have to verify all the time. I think they can give me the structure, but they don't really give me the source. So sometimes I have to Google, or sometimes people say you have to answer, you copy it on Google and see where is the source, and you try to figure it yourself. But that a bit journey, because you can't just rely on it. You want some reliable result. But then I think the main one, they come with the source, they with the link. Say, we recently launched a 5 gigabit per second navigator broadband, and my colleagues asked if it is the first one in the world. Then if you just ask this answer in Bing, they give you some example of others. Then your answer is not. Then that is kind of more reliable from my perspective.
So basically, maybe answer similar first question. So how accurate the answer is? It definitely, so if you try ChatGPT, you will know it gives you a lot of inaccurate answers. So basically, so I remember there was a very interesting search term on Google. So the people start to use Google, they will keep searching his own name, right? So basically, when we when we first start to use ChatGPT, is the first thing I do is actually to ask ChatGPT if he knows me. Okay, so do you know who is me? Okay, so and then I found ChatGPT give me multiple versions of inaccurate answers. Okay, so basically sometimes it will have the first paragraph accurate, but the second paragraph is completely wrong information. Say I was working for IBM as a software engineer or something, but which I never. Okay, but so and then this actually lead to a very interesting idea. So that's what there was a couple of weeks ago. It's on Twitter. I saw someone tweet something which was a screenshot of his conversation with ChatGPT. He also asked ChatGPT, "Do you know who is this guy?" So him myself, and then the ChatGPT in the first, so basically he is actually a journalist. Okay, so basically, ChatGPT tell him the very first paragraph, which is accurate, said this is so basically this person is a journalist, blah 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 blah, and then ChatGPT continued to say, but unfortunately, this person was in jail because of something for like 5 years. But which is not true because this guy was never in jail. And then he continued to correct. ChatGPT said, so that part of me in jail is inaccurate. And then ChatGPT said, sorry, so I'm so sorry, I get a wrong answer. So basically, this guy was in the jail for 7 years, not 5 years, which is not true as well. But but suddenly I come up with an idea which can be a very interesting idea to make a movie or maybe a graphic novel. So what if ChatGPT? So what if those are real answers, but it just happened to be in other metaverse, in other universe? So if we are in a, sorry, this is off topic, but if we are in a multiverse world, and then in that universe, he was in jail for 5 years. In another universe, that person was in jail for 5 years. But in the current in the current universe, this person was safe, was not being end up in jail. But what if ChatGPT AI itself already exists in all the universe, in all the metaverse?
Yeah. That's why avoided accurate answer to 2021. Maybe the question will last 2023.
Right. So I think this is very interesting because we are human beings living in 2023, right? So our understanding is only to the current world we are seeing, the current information we are getting, right? But what if ChatGPT is way beyond us, right? The ChatGPT, the AI thing is already way beyond us, and then it exists in all the universe. So we are in a multiverse world, and then ChatGPT just accidentally like glitch. He accidentally sends the accurate information from another universe to you. So this is our topic. It's just something I find it very fun.
I think I would like to add on to that it's quite an philosophical question in some way, but I'm not going to go down that route because it'll be like a discussion for 2 hours, whether or not some information is accurate or correct. Because in the digital world, things change constantly. So whether something is correct, it's really hard to judge. But then I did think, in certain scenarios, say for example, if I were to ask the AI to generate a design for me, okay, or not just one, perhaps 5 designs, so that I can pick the best one. Okay. So if I have been relying on AI for 10 years, okay, for doing this, how am I in the position of making the judgment whether which design is good, because I no longer possess that skill to judge whether which design is good or not, because I've not done it. Perhaps I don't even have the formal design training to judge which one is good. So what do I do? Which one is the correct answer, right? So then I thought, okay, should I put it up on the internet so that people can make votes? Okay, so maybe I receive 5,000 votes and to see which one, and then each person to actually do a vote will get paid, so that to encourage them to do it. And then I would then get the answer, right? So this is one way of going down the roads. Okay, but then going back to the education scenario is that what should we teach our next generation? Just saying in the profession of design. Okay, should we teach them we shouldn't be teaching them Photoshop and and Illustrator, right? Because that would be replaced. But we should continue to teach them maybe typography, color theories, composition, so that they know they can make their own judgment whether which design is good or not. And that I think the decision part is very important, and that right now it cannot be replaced by AI. And similar in a situation where I have asked AI to draft me a document, right, or draft me something. And after looking at it, I do have doubts whether that is the best version, because first, it's the first version. Secondly, I've given a very general question for the AI to answer. So then I have to go back to think, okay, should I just take this information and use it as is? Which is not good, right? Because but I have the judgment, I have the knowledge to judge whether that's good or not. Then I would say go back and re-question it again and fine-tune the information until it gives me the correct answer, the answer that I'm looking for. So I think the human judgment is really unreplaceable still. Yes, all right. Oh, okay, so shall we have one more question?
I don't know. We actually even answer the second question. The whole phone thing.
Yeah,
Our last two questions. How about?
Okay, last two questions.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
what was the second question about like Hong Kong?
What are some impact of other specifics?
Want to challenge us?
I saw a report saying
Yeah,
Hong Kong is
yeah.
top in the list of
Yeah, I think that too.
being replaced by
Yeah, I would agree.
generative AI, right? So because I think we got loads of not say physical but paperwork that is quite easy to be replaced. So any comments from you guys?
Yeah, I think my gut feeling would be the same. That because we are kind of like a service economy, and we rely much on perhaps trading and also finance and also tourism. So many part of our service or product is not that easily replaced by automation or AI as of yet. Yeah. So we're maybe the least impact than other countries. Yes.
We are very new to the design things. I've got experience as you, and very experienced in terms of design. Maybe we can make the judgment outputs of those AI and designs, those stuff. So for me, do you have any advice to newbies like us? What we need to learn or need to accumulate before we make use of the outputs of those AI? Right. Because for human, we have to accumulate knowledge. We have to have experience through our works. We need those knowledge and accumulate first before we make those judgment. Before we get to the position to make judgment. But before that, how we should use those output AI? We just use that learning tools, or how we should be make the best use of the Do you have any advice to give them like us?
All right, I'll try to jump onto that question first. Would you like to try to specify which type of design or which sector of the design? Because design can come in multiple various forms. So
So I come from a virtual bank.
mhm,
So we have no physical branch.
Right.
We have all our financial service put it on the mobile apps.
mhm,
So we launch our campaigns on mobile apps.
mhm, mhm.
We heavily rely on our apps to attract new customers.
Right.
To attract customers to come to repurchase.
Mhm.
So we heavily rely on the design or the UI.
Yes.
We also very treasure and value the UX.
Mm.
Actually, we also want to know how the customers feel about us. Maybe the data analytics can help us. All this we want to know how we our products.
Okay, so going back, how should we use AI as a tool to help us do specifically in UX and UI, and applying that to virtual bank. Okay. So there's no simple solution as of yet, because as I mentioned, the tools that are available are quite at its infancy currently. So it's quite simple and cannot handle really complex tasks. So when we think about UX and UI, it's essentially a really long process of understanding the user, their mindset, and how to help them execute their tasks. So how should we use them? Perhaps we can use them to generate. One thing I would use AI is to generate content. They're really good at that, because one of the ChatGPT is based on neural language, right? So which means that the words, they're really strong at that. So in UX and UI, one specific area is the UX writing. So how you can use good content to lead users to use instructional information to help them complete the task. So that's one good area UX AI is good at. So in terms of visually, many plugins can help in like Figma. They can help do the layout. But again, it's just UI but not UX. So it's not very reliable at the moment. So in order to have a good product, you really need to rely on us as a human being to test it out. Yeah, because ultimately it's the user that really judge and give your product the likes or dislikes. So you really have to have real human beings to test your product to give you the answer. See anyone?
My comment is to zoom out a bit. I think it's not only on UI UX, but for everyone here or online, I try to ask myself questions every day. When I do this job, can I work with AI? Can I work with that as an assistant? Can I do this and that? Well, you may discover something new every day, and I think that's always a question to challenge yourself, whether your role or your colleagues or your family, can it be done in a more powerful or more effective way with the tool?
From a hiring designer perspective.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, our guests, and thank you, everyone. Before we draw an end to our workshop, I would like to express my appreciation again to our speakers for your time and expertise. And thank you for all the audience for your support. And we will hold the project grand event, Asia Smart App Summit and Award Presentation Ceremony on June 29th at Cyberport, which will bring together 16 Asian region representatives and finalists to share and connect. For more information, you may check in our ASA website soon, and everyone is welcome to celebrate with us. Finally, may we ask for your involvement filling out the questionnaire as feedback on how we did and suggest how we could improve. Please help to complete a few questions before you leave.